Welcome, great agents from across the country. Today is January 19th, 2017, and this is Mastermind Call 109. Amazing. Got some good stuff for you today, and we already have 3 people in the queue. As always, hit *6 and hit 1. We want as much participation as possible in these calls. Just a couple little things I wanted to start off with. You know, this company was just an idea, it took place about 3 years ago, and Chad and I have been doing these calls for about 2 years now. And I think 2 years ago it was Chad and I talking to ourselves. Now we're getting over 100 people on here. We've always tried to keep these calls right at 30 minutes, so all of you could plan on, put it in your schedule. Lately, we feel like we've been cutting people short, so we're going to try to keep it at 30 minutes, but we're going to allow up to about 45 minutes. We've been getting some great participation, some great questions, some really good feedback from all of you. So, if we come on 30 minutes and we still have a few more people in the queue, we're never going to cut anyone off. And I also wanted to say we've had a few. We don't ever want to discourage anybody from asking a question. If it's something, though, that is so specific that it would be better served that we could deal with it one-on-one, we may just say, hey, after the call, please call customer support or send an email to support@alltheleads. And so we don't ever want to feel like we're cutting you off, but we want to try to get it done in 30 to 45 minutes, and we want to cover as much as we possibly can. And it looks like Tim is on the call. Tim, I'm trying to locate you. So, Chad, go ahead if you would and go over what's on the radar for training, and I'll let our partner in.
Okay. I don't know how many of you guys actually subscribe to our blog or our YouTube channel, but this morning, I don't know, probably around 10 o'clock, I published a video blog with tips from the trainer. It's something that I've been doing for about, 3 weeks, a month maybe, where I try to take our most common questions, concerns that we address a lot of times on these calls, but also through support, and turn those into a blog so you kind of always have those to reference. So if you haven't seen that, you can find it from our Facebook page, All the Leads, not the Mastermind group, but the page. Or you can go to alltheleads.com, click on blog, and while you're there, you can subscribe so you're notified whenever you get those. And I did send an email this morning just so you guys knew that was out there. So that's out there. We just finished up January Mastery, longest and best mastery we've had so far. We went over 7 hours because we had such an interactive group, which I enjoy because everybody gets more from it, and it's more exciting for me to kind of lead the training. So the next Probate Mastery, the February Mastery, will be February 6th, 8th, and 10th, and all those sessions start at 2 p.m. Eastern and run anywhere from 60 to 120 minutes, it seems. So it really depends on how interactive the group is and how much you guys want to go down rabbit holes with me. So if you're interested in Mastery, you will see emails next week. If you go to in the subscriber portal on the left, you can click on Probate Mastery, and it will allow you to sign up from there, or you can click on one of the emails when you see them come out.
Excellent. And Tim is with us. So, Tim, anything you'd like to add to start off?
Yeah, the other thing I'd like to say is I just wanted to let everybody know we've been getting some good suggestions from people in regard to things they'd like to see us consider. And, in addition to people thinking that we do an awfully good job of providing really good quality leads, and certainly I know that we're providing an extraordinary level of support for all you all, but we really want to hear from you about things that we can do better or things you'd like us to consider, or even if you're getting some leads, directions, support, products, or anything else from other people, and you like the way that we do things and you'd like to see us maybe offer them, if you'll just send a message to support@alltheleads.com, we'd love to hear from you. We want to build this business around our customers. That's the smartest way anyone can grow their business. So just let us know. Send that email to support@alltheleads.com. We read everything that comes in. We respond, and that's how we're building our team. So please let us know what we can do better all the time. Thank you.
Excellent. Well said. We have 3 people in the queue. We probably have room for at least 5 or 6 more. So again, hit *6 and hit 1, and we will unmute you one at a time. Let's go to our first participant. Phone number ending in 6227. You're up.
Hi, it's Joanne. How are you?
Hey, Joanne. Great.
I really don't have any questions right now. I'm just kind of sitting back and listening to everyone else's questions and just learning more about your product.
Okay. Excellent. Appreciate it. Welcome, and hopefully this will be a good call. You'll learn something. Phone number ending in 9045. You're up.
I don't have a question either. I was just listening in.
Okay. I guess I should have been specific. If you would like to actively make a comment, participate, ask a question or share a story with us, hit *6 and then hit 1. But
right. So if I wanted to speak to the rep to find out about my territory, do I just go right to the information on the email that I get?
Yeah, 100%. Just hit again. I have 3 partners, myself and 3 other partners, and we now have 5 employees. The quickest way to get help with anything is just send an email and be real specific about what you would like to support at alltheleads.com, and we all read that, and the best person to help you will usually get back to you within a few minutes. So just send an email to support at alltheleads.com, and if it's about a territory, it'll be me that'll call you right back.
Sounds good. I'll send that right now. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right. The queue's getting filled up. We have 5172. You're up next.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Welcome.
All right. Do you guys hear me? I'm actually calling you from my car.
Can hear you great.
Okay, good. Yeah, the question I had for you, you've been in this business a long time. Sometimes you get these attorneys that are already being bombarded, with realtors, investors. Is there a niche script or way that we can try to get into these difficult attorneys? They've already been bombarded, and some of them, believe it or not, from doing estates going over the years, they even ask for kickbacks. Some of these attorneys are crazy.
Sure.
So do you have any recommendations for difficult attorneys?
Yeah, absolutely. Chad, I'm sure Chad has a few tips for you. Let me ask you, though, before we get to that, are you calling the executors first, or are you reaching out to the attorneys first? I'm
just getting started, to be honest with you, actually, this week. I just started to make some calls to some of the attorneys.
Okay.
So I didn't even get to the executors yet. I was going to get to that.
Yeah, the reason I mention that, the executors are lower-hanging fruit, and, they're easier to get a hold of. They're typically more receptive. You don't have to get past a gatekeeper. I would start with them. Now, having said that, we probably have a dozen agents that have absolutely killed it by working the attorneys. And Chad, you want to give them a few examples of the best way to handle the attorneys?
Sure. My best advice would be probably just don't worry about phone calls and letters, because based on everything we've seen in many different markets, most people get shut out because the gatekeeper is, whoever opens the mail or answers the phone is typically the guardian of billable hours. So what we've found to be most successful in all different kinds of markets is actually showing up with for an office visit and helping them understand how it is you can help them.
Right, and but when you do that, you're just showing up with or without an appointment.
Most folks have shown up without an appointment and just said, "Hey."
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I was about to do. Correct. That's what I was about to do, because once because I got an extensive background, so that's a good idea. Yeah.
So what you want to focus on is showing them how you can make their business more efficient and their life easier. And what they really care about is that you're protecting their client's best interest and that you're clearing the files off their desk. And you can show them that you've built a team and tailored a specific service that helps their clients. And what we find is and you're not going to get every one of them. Like, a lot of them will slam the door in your face, and it sounds like you're a seasoned businessman, so you can deal with that. But it only takes one or two. I mean, we have one agent who's done over 100 deals from one attorney. So it's just don't get discouraged if you get 2 or 3 doors slammed in your face. Just keep knocking until you find one because
I'm used to rejection because I found Jim, I teach the real estate class in New York. I'm an instructor, so I can get these guys a lot of legal business. That could be my bait to get in. I get a lot of legal business, so I would use that maybe to offset any potential objection. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go there cold turkey, walk in, and do it that way, I guess. I think that's a smart idea, just without an appointment.
And
I would just, as far as the script goes, I would say, hey, listen, I keep seeing, we're proactive and we pull probate files because we help more and more families each month. And I notice you guys just keep coming up on the list. So I just thought I would introduce myself, and I think there's ways we can really help each other. Is Attorney John still available? And see if you can open the door that way.
Yeah, that's what I was going to add. You want to go down your column and pick out the ones that are doing multiple deals per month, and work on those. And this is a little more of a gimmick, but we have heard from a couple agents also, if you're going to get on the phone, don't reference, this is Bob Johnson with ABC Realty. Just say, hey, this is Bob. I'm calling about probate docket number X5207. We've had a couple agents tell us if you just reference the docket number, your odds of getting put through to the attorney are higher because it just sounds more like an official call. So if you do, I agree with Chad. It's better to go in person. But if you do want to try making calls, try that and see if you have any better success than
That's a smart way, right? Because they could think if you might be another attorney, you might be from the court. That's smart. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we had an agent, Bob Faust in California, that did real well with an email and a mail campaign, and on the envelope he just referenced the docket number. And he found that they got opened a lot more, if it looks more like an official document. And that's
great.
That's on our list, so it's something that's real easy to mail merge if you want to try that.
Great, that's great. All right, guys, actually I got to go back into my meeting, but that's great info. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, and mention us in the class. Thank you. Appreciate your input. Take care.
No, I told you, I'm going to try to refer you some business. Thank you. Take care.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. All right, next up on the list is phone number ending in 8890. You're up.
I'm just calling to listen.
Okay, another listen-only mode. All right, not a problem. Phone number ending in 1004. You're up.
Yeah, I just want to say aloha to everybody. And Chad, I thought you did a great job on the mastery course. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
It's really had some great pointers there, and watched your blog this morning. I thought it was great as well. I mean, to get you thinking of the percentages that I know you don't like to go beg for business, as you say. So you just got to get out there and work it. So I thought you had some good words to say this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Hey, guys, we're down to one person in the queue. I recognize the name, and we'll go to him next. So we do have room for 2, 3, 4 more. Hit *6 and hit 1. See, as soon as I threaten to expand the call, we get fewer people, Chad. So we got to make sure we get participation. You don't want to hear Chad and I talk to each other. Hit *6 and then hit 1. And Rich, you're up. Phone number ending in 3698. How are you, sir?
Hi, it's Eileen Vecchio. I'm
Hi, Eileen.
in Boca Raton, Florida. Hi. The reason why the question I have is on the leads that we received, there are some, I'd say maybe about a dozen that are out of state for the last known address, and also out of state for a personal representative. And I was wondering, is that a mistake, you think, that they're on our list? Because it doesn't seem like there's any property locally.
Chad?
So I doubt that it's a mistake. I mean, there's not, just because somebody's in probate doesn't always mean they have real estate.
Okay.
And so you've just searched against your county tax records? Is that how you're saying there's no property? Or what research have you done?
I did look a couple of them up on it, and correct, I did not find any real estate owned here. So
yeah, and who knows? I mean, like the thing, if you people can own real estate in over 3,000 counties, right? So in order to properly scrub and say this one doesn't own real estate, you would have to go to 3,000 different tax websites. And we are diligently working on doing that for you. But for right now, the best way to know is to make contact with the seller.
Just call anyway? Okay.
Yeah, and what we found in Florida and just north of you, where Jim is, he did incredibly well with the out-of-state personal representatives because they tended to be even more motivated. And Jim, how many listings did you take where they just mailed you the keys? Like you didn't even go on a listing appointment?
I tested this about 4 years ago. I ended up taking 14 listings and bought and flipped 2 properties, and I went in a total of 1 appointment. Florida is where everybody kind of comes to as their final resting place. So in a lot of areas, that may not be true in Boise, Idaho, but there still would be a significant number of them that are not local. And Eileen, just because their last known address might be in Massachusetts, they may have gotten ill and went to live, with their kids, elsewhere and passed away elsewhere. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't have property back in Palm Beach County. And like Chad said, I found a lot of people when I worked Broward County, they owned property in Palm Beach. I had one gentleman that had 12 properties in the Tri-County area here. So, don't assume without talking to them. It's worth a phone call. And one other point that we've made before on these calls, if you do happen to get someone who's local and they say a vast majority of the time there will be probate, but there will be real estate. But if you get someone who says no, the estate's almost settled and there wasn't any real estate, remember you're speaking to someone that on average just inherited about $200,000. We've had a number of success stories from our agents that'll ask another question. Well, now that the estate's settled, do you have any plans to maybe upgrade your home, or buy some investment property? Because someone who just inherited that kind of money, there's a good chance, even though they may not have sold any real estate, they've now have significant extra funds. They may want to list their home and buy a nicer one. So you ask that extra question. Yeah, ask that extra question that nobody else is asking, and you could really dig out some business that you might not have expected that was there.
And also, in your experience, do they sometimes name the personal representative as like an attorney? Is that common, or is that
not common? But it does happen. Chad, you could expand on that a bit if you would.
Yeah, typically when you see that, it's either a case where the family didn't really trust the now deceased, didn't really trust the family, so they set up the estate planning attorney to be the executor. Or it's a case where somebody passes away without any family or estranged from their family, and nobody comes forward to probate the estate, so the court actually appoints an administrator.
Interesting. Okay.
So, and we talked about this last week on the call. Those can actually be more valuable because if an administrator, it's the emotion is taken out of the transaction for an administrator. So it's a B2B transaction at that point. It's a real estate professional and a law professional working to accomplish the same goal, and all the emotions out of it. So they could actually be even easier deals because it's just simply, I need to sell the house. Can you do that for me? So definitely don't shy away from them.
Also,
great.
Also, if they are appointed by the court, that's probably their specialty, and they're probably getting other deals. I think it was Bob Faust. We've had a couple people in California it was Bill Bird in California that's had phenomenal success. He did a couple deals like that, Eileen, and all of a sudden now the judges are recommending clients to him, and the court is starting to recommend him. When somebody comes in without an error, they're starting to recommend him on a regular basis. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, those can be really nice hidden gems in your data. Good question.
Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. We have one more person in the queue, and we got time for at least 5. So *6 and hit 1. In the meantime, phone number ending in 1168. You're up.
Hey guys, I just wanted to touch base and see if there's been any leeway, any success in grabbing a probate list in the Philadelphia area.
No, it's one of the few areas in the country that we've struggled with. There are some counties. Philadelphia has just a ridiculous, and I honestly, I think if I was a lawyer there, I would sue the county because I don't see how you can restrict data like they're doing, and they're charging a ridiculous amount just to review a file. So for a probate, they charge us to review the file, and then every month they don't even tell you what files there are. They charge you again. So unfortunately, honestly, there's 3,420 counties in the U.S. and there isn't. I don't think we've never ever. I think it's the only one we've ever found where it's just doesn't make sense. So I'd either take an adjoining county or move. I'm sorry. I wish I had better news for you. We do have other products, Robert, that we're looking at that may be able to get around that, and we're probably only a couple months from rolling them out. So please don't get discouraged. Okay. And I know I have your information
right now. I am grabbing the list right now, but it's expensive and unreliable at this point. So I'm definitely looking for another source. But
do me a favor, send me an email, Jim@alltheleads.com, and just in case I don't have your information, and I will put you on the Philadelphia list if and when we get that puzzle solved. We'll reach out to you.
Gotcha. Sounds good.
All right. We have no one else in the queue. See, as soon as I threatened to extend the call, we run a little bit short. We've got 5 or 6 minutes left. Any last questions? Star 6 and hit 1. We didn't get a success story this week, which is really unusual. There you go. All I got to do is ask. Thank you. All right. Next up is phone number ending in 6369. You're up.
Hi, this is Hugh in Stafford, Virginia.
Hey, Hugh.
I just started making calls, and I did, the first letters went out. I did get a call from somebody, but, threatening me. You said this was going to happen, and I expected, she was wondering, where'd you get the information from, and don't call me, and my lawyer's going to be after you, and I was just like, ma'am, it's okay. It's just a solicitation, calm down. But I see that's happening. And the other experience I've had so far is, I'm trying to help a lady out. She's staying in the house. Her husband passed, but, I'm trying to find a place to donate all the medical equipment and help her find a will. People do a will. Is that the kind of, the value-added stuff that, you talk about that we should be trying to do?
Absolutely, man. Life can change for her in a heartbeat, and a month from now, she could desperately need to sell her house to pay for her own medical bills. So anything you can do like that, that doesn't require a whole lot of work from you, but would be tremendously valuable to her, go do as much of that as you can. So for the medical equipment, I would probably call one of your community groups. Like here in Roanoke, I would probably call TAP. TAP is I think it's a national nonprofit. Or maybe call it the social worker at one of your nursing homes would be a better idea. And they can probably tell you, that social worker will know when somebody transitions from a nursing home to go back home, which happens every day. Sometimes, unfortunately, the insurance won't cover equipment or they can't afford it. So it's also a good opportunity for you to get to know the social worker at the nursing home and help them understand how you're helping these people, because those social workers also are the ones doing the paperwork when someone passes away in a nursing home. So if they know and trust you and know that you're doing the right things for the community, they're the ones standing there with the family at the moment that, this is going on. So you can use things like that to provide a bunch of value and earn business in a lot of different ways. So absolutely do that. As far as the first part of your statement, but not a question really, but I encourage you to go back through, I think it's in Probate Fast Track number 3, video number 3, where I talk about the probate USP. And get those points straight. Like you want to, as soon as you pick up the phone, even if you have to walk over top of them, get out who you are, how you got their information, what value you can provide and end on a question. And
Okay.
I found that I got the marbles out of my mouth and quit falling on my face. When I would get that stuff out front, then people would usually, after I asked a question, it would usually be followed by a long silence. Well, not always a long silence, but a period of silence. And they would usually diffuse and start spilling the story on me. Even if there wasn't real estate, they would still, it would just diffuse almost everybody. And the ones who weren't really aggressive, it would kind of bond you with them. You could start, you could kind of start the rapport and go from there. So I think you got to look at yourself and say, all right, I need to do a better job at doing this, and you're going to get blasted, and you just got to, let those roll off your back. But focus on getting those points real clear. Like, it needs to be a kind of a confident, concise statement in the front of every conversation. So they know you don't have to go through all those questions and take the battering. They know everything they want to know because you just gave it to them in a 15-second statement. Now the ball's in their court. So. Yeah.
You also brought up an interesting point I'd camp on. I never thought about this until this call, but there are most of the large churches now. I know they're doing a lot of this in Florida. They're starting an exchange program where they'll like maintain that sort of equipment. They'll oftentimes put it in their thrift shops, but they just use it as a charity exchange for the people in the church or the parish or the congregation of any sort. And the other thing that does is that it gets you in front of them as well as, here's this real estate guy who's coming in the door who specializes in probate, and he's giving back to the community by doing this sort of stuff. And that's a great source of not only revenue for you, but a good thing to be doing. And it also helps you get in front of a huge group of people that kind of trust you can't buy. That's a great thing to go do. And that'd be a great entree to that. Call around to a few of the churches and find out if they have a program like that for, donating unneeded medical equipment.
Okay.
Excellent.
Appreciate it.
Great suggestions. And just to notice, guys, we probably are going to go 45 minutes. We've got 5 more people in the queue. Did that answer all your questions, Hugh?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you participating. Nancy, you're up. Phone number ending in 5991.
Hi there. This is Nancy.
Hey,
I had
Nancy.
a couple quick questions.
Sure.
Right at the time that my lawn service is going to come by with the weed whacker in a second, so I apologize. But
no problem.
I was looking for some scripts to call the personal representatives that I could hand over to a VA to find out if they have real estate in the probate, or if they have any desire to sell or not.
Okay. Chad,
do we have those available somewhere?
I've never found a VA script that actually worked. We have worked with a couple of companies and a couple of individuals and worked on training the VAs, and quite frankly, I've never seen one that could do well enough to set appointments. It's what I have learned is that a VA should not try to go as deep as we would as the agent. Try not to go for the appointment. Try not to go for an appointment like a meeting appointment. But at most, your VA's objective should be to find out if they have real estate, if they have a plan, and when they can get on the phone with you. So all they should be doing is setting up phone appointments. We have had some success there, but as far as getting one to do the prospecting for you, I have in 3 or 4 different trials, I haven't been able to figure that out yet.
Chad, do we have an existing form that she could take and kind of amend, or what would you suggest if she's looking for a script?
I don't. I mean, and honestly, not knowing your VA, it's incredibly hard to do. Like, it really depends on in my experience, their speaking style, their English, just how good they are, really. So I would just say, you need to think about it yourself. All I need this person to do is set phone appointments for me. So what do I need to know? What's the minimum amount of information I need to know where that's a valuable phone appointment? And then just give them those questions and find ways to, work through it based on their English level. And I mean, I didn't ask. I'm assuming it's an offshore VA. Is it a local VA or an offshore VA?
Well, I haven't hired the person yet. That's why I wanted to find out if you've had success and what kind of scripts that you had available that I could review before I go to the next level.
You can call me directly and we can work on it. I'll help you with it. I don't really have anything in writing that I think will be helpful to you.
Okay. I'll
Anything
give you
else,
a call
Nancy?
later this afternoon then. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Nancy. We have 3 more people in the queue. Phone number ending 7509. You're up.
Oh, hey, my name is Grant Wortman. 2 questions. One is, whenever the info of the personal representative is the same address as the deceased info, in general, what's y'all's experience with that? Does that mean the other person's probably going to stay there for a while and may not be moving, or any suggestions on that?
So that's, most often is a surviving spouse. And based on surveys and studies and data, there's an 87.8% chance that person plans to pass away in the home as well. But as we all know, the nursing home, the fact that the nursing home industry is one of the fastest growing in the country tells us that that's not happening. So life changes quickly in that age group. So a lot of people, even when they don't think they're going to stay in their home, a month or 2 or a year or 2 later, everything can change in an instant. So my recommendation, and if you go to alltheleads.com and click on blog and go back 2 or 3 weeks, I did a longer explanation of this, but you should watch that. But I encourage everybody to mail and reach out to the surviving spouse, and you might have a softer touch and be less direct. But my very first probate deal was that scenario, and the lady told me she would never sell. And 2 months later, her daughter she didn't know where to turn. She was out of town. Her mother had a stroke. She came in. She was completely lost. Her realtor didn't know what to do. He hadn't done anything in 12 months other than put a sign in the yard. And I just came in, quickly assembled a team of people together, handed her a solution. We sold the house for $25,000 more than it had sat on the market for 12 months. So that was kind of my initial inspiration, and I've heard many stories since. So, and then, I've got past clients that would get the letter and sit on it. One, she waited 2 years before she called us, and it was amazing. When we got to the house, the guy's guitars and amps down to his bedroom slippers were still sitting. Her basement was like a museum. Like, she just didn't move any of his stuff because she was devastated. But she finally picked up the phone and said, "Listen, I got your letter. I've checked you out online. Can you please just bring paperwork and let's get this done?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, have we talked before?" And it was that quick. Within 3 days, the house was cleaned out. She had sat there for 2 years and never moved a single piece of personal property. And we had the house cleaned out, everything donated. And she did it all herself. It just took that bump of getting the letter, reading it one more time to pick up the phone, and then so when we sold the house, she got a ton of money and she moved closer to her grandkids in North Carolina and was the happiest woman in the world. So don't shy away from those, because those people can need your help more than any, even though they might not realize it on the first phone call. But just find ways to be valuable to them, and over time you'll get a lot of business from them.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Second question is, so I'm set up to do the 3 letters and then make the phone call every time after that. Is that, I feel like I'm not really doing anything with it. So I went through all my people, made phone calls, left messages, and that's kind of it, just sit and wait. Do you guys suggest to be a little bit more aggressive than that, or is it okay to just kind of go slow and let the letters do their thing and make the calls after?
No, if you got the time, man, extra phone calls are as long as you're not calling them every day and just bulldogging them,
right.
You don't want to treat it like an expired listing. But you may call them once a week, so you may have 3 or 4 phone calls between each letter, and I don't think that's a bad thing. That just gives you more opportunities to get to speak with them. So just keep making the phone calls between the letters, maybe once a week. Touch them until you say no or get a hold of them and they say yes.
What other industries are calling them? I'm assuming lawyers, but are like retirement homes calling them too, or?
It's predominantly real estate investors. So the attorneys, the attorneys pretty much rely on, they're assigned by the court, so they don't really prospect these families. The people that are, they're getting calls from creditors because they put notice in the newspaper that, hey, this person has passed and we're administering the estate. So they're hearing from creditors and for the most part just real estate investors. And there could be other people, but I haven't really, and all the people that I've spoken with, usually all the mail they get is from real estate investors.
I love the example of Seth in New York City. We've got a gentleman in New York City that in his first 10 days he took 4 multi-million-dollar listings, and he said every single person I spoke to, and he was our 4th agent there. The other 3 swore that it didn't work in New York City. But he said every person I spoke to said, I got 50 letters, but you were the only person that called me. So I think you'd be surprised how much mail they get and how few actual phone calls. Very few people are going to take very few people take the time. I don't know of anybody that provides the phone numbers that we do. And even if the agents are industrious enough to find a phone number, I mean, very few agents, too many agents live or die by the mail, and too many professionals. And the mail, would you rather just get lost in a pile of letters or pick up the phone and really stand out? If you pick up the phone, in most cases, we hear that you're going to be the only realtor calling them. And I wouldn't be surprised if nobody else called them. It really kind of depends on the market and the circumstances. But they're not getting a ton of phone calls. They are getting a ton of mail in some markets. So
when you call and you call and the phone number is good and you leave a message, do you guys go ahead and call the other numbers listed to get a person, or do you kind of wait with the one you left a message with?
I leave messages on all of them. I mean, it's just cast a wide net, right?
It's not too creepy.
No, I mean, they want somebody that's going to be as good at helping them with all their issues as they are at getting a hold of them. So no, I don't think most people would perceive that as creepy. So no, err on the side of being proactive. I don't think you're going to go too wrong that way.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Excellent.
I messed up and left messages for people who had already listed their house, and as stupid as I felt, they just called back and they're like, "Hey, you've already got me, man. Like we've already done this. You've already got it under contract." I'm like, "Oh yeah, sorry about that." So don't worry about it. You can't do much worse than that.
Yeah, seriously.
That's
okay,
great.
Cool.
All right, 2 more in the queue. It's perfect timing, guys. Thank you for making our call last the full 40 minutes today. Phone number 5781. You're up.
Hi, good afternoon, gentlemen. This is Helene from New Jersey. How are you?
Hi, great, Helene. Thank you for participating. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I have 3 questions. The first one is when I pull up, I did receive a list, which was wonderful, but the probate dates are 2 months old. Is that common?
The date of death?
No, the date of probate. According to the list, when you sign into the portal and you go ahead and you go to your leads, I just received one on the 14th or the 16th, I can't remember, and it says that when I look at it, the probate dates for the cases are November and December. Is that common to be 1 to 2 months behind?
Helene, did we give you some historical leads when you signed up?
No.
I thought we did. Often when you sign up for January, we'll also offer you the month before if we have them. So that would be my first question. And then go ahead, Chad. You wanted to add to that?
I was just going to say there's 2 dates, and there's the date of the death and the date of the probate filing. When you look at it, the ones that you're saying are November probates. What was the date of death? I just want to make sure you're not confusing the 2 dates.
Right. Okay. Well,
typically probate is filed on average about 2 months after the date of death.
Okay. All right. While I'm looking up that information, I'll ask you the other questions. What is top of a column? It says DECD, and then it says LKZ. What does that mean?
LKZ.
Sounds like decedent's last known address.
It's a column. There's for probate leads, it says probate death, representative deceased, and then it has deceased LKZ with an asterisk next to it. Then the next column says
is
status.
There anything in the column?
Yeah, some of them have numbers, and then some of them don't.
Yeah, that may be something specific to your market.
It must be.
Yeah, send an email to support@alltheleads, and we'll figure out what it is.
Okay.
Sounds like that's something specific to you. We give you everything that's there, so sometimes it's data that you probably don't need, but send an email. We'll figure it out.
Okay. And then another question that I have is I do not have a team of investors or contractors yet. So should I wait until I have this quote-unquote team ready and up and going?
Absolutely not. We'll give you a couple tips. Go to nationalreia.com. That stands for National Real Estate Investors Association. Click on a map. Call the president of your local association. Tell him what you're doing. Tell him you need some investors, and he'll probably say, yeah, me, most of the time.
Right.
So really easy to find investors. And you can also go to Courthouse Sales, but that website is the quickest way, and they have a chapter in virtually every major metropolitan area in the country. And then what was the other element that you're missing?
And the other element, pardon me, was that was the three. I don't have a team of investors, and should I wait to call? The probate dates are 2 months old. Is that common? Now, I signed up in December.
Okay.
So I don't know if this is.
Send us an email, and we'll look into both those things. Go ahead, Chad.
You're in Atlantic, right, Helene?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Now the other,
so
in regard
I looked
to
at your file. Your January file has every lead during the month of December. So the deaths were occurring in September, October, November. The probate filing was in December. So that's correct. It's typically what we find is families tend to wait a couple of months before they file probate. And as far as the column, I think what you're looking at is deceased key, and that's just kind of an internal data system that we use to keep track of leads. So you don't really use that in column A.
Okay. Now the one that I'm looking at, I just clicked on one. The probate file date was December. The date of death was July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no control of that. I've had them all the way back to 1983, and typically, sometimes it's because all the family was out of town, and it took them 6 months to finally get there and initiate the process. Sometimes it's because people are just grieving so much they wait and procrastinate and put their head in the sand. And sometimes they just don't know that they're supposed to file probate until they go to sell the real estate years later. And then someone says, oh, wait, we got to close the chain of title. But, it's in most cases, I would say 95% of cases, what we find is they're typically around 60 days before the family kind of hits that mark and says, okay, we're ready to deal with this.
Okay. Now, another question I have. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. We have 3 more people in the queue, so I don't want to cut you off, but go ahead. If you another quick question. I want to get to everybody today.
Last quick question. I don't know if this is a piggyback to a previous caller, but I have a deceased person in Laguna Niguel, California, but the representative is here in Atlantic County, and the death was in 2011. So the probate, though, was in December. So how does that work? I mean, obviously, I'm not in California.
Well, you can still contact them, find out if they need help, and introduce them to this great agent that you know in California.
Okay, very good.
All right, thank you. Thank you much. Phone number ending in 9636, you're up.
Good afternoon, Rodger Lisi.
Rodger, how are you, sir?
Rodger.
I'm doing fine. I had a question that Chad already answered, and it was about sophisticated real estate buyers and sellers who are personal representatives that want to blow me off. And I think that Chad discovered an answer with some of the additional added value that we bring to the table over and above other real estate agents, like medical equipment, and making the best use of medical equipment that goes in. So I've been dealing with that off and on over the last several months with a personal representative who thinks they know everything about real estate because they bought and sold a couple of different homes and stuff like that. But when you start, and it starts to make me questioning the value that I bring to that situation. And I think that it's the unexpected things that I can provide for them to do that. And I think that's a high value proposition for those people who have and are sophisticated in real estate sales and have done a couple of homes that they bought and sold over the time. I don't need a real estate agent. I can sell this myself, and I can do all of this. And as well as the entire network of contractors and teams that I have to help take care of the challenges that they may not know that are available, that they're going to bump into.
First of all, I was going to say I don't think anybody has done a better job of providing value over the last year or so. You've done remarkably well. But what you're describing, it kind of sounds like a probate FSBO, which is pretty unusual. Usually the last thing that executor wants is to sell that house himself. But you're going to get the 1 in 1,000 that's kind of a know-it-all. So I'm glad that helped. The more value you provide, the better. So any new big success stories real quick you want to share, Rodger? I usually have one or two good ones.
No, I was just looking for that, and I think that's
okay.
A big success right there for me, is just and encouraging especially new folks that are in this. I want to say that my first couple of months doing this, I hated phone calling. Hated phone calls. Did I say I hated phone calls? Hated doing phone prospecting. And now I've got such a big basket of value that I can bring to a situation with that, and the experience level that you get on these calls from around the country, as well as what I've got. I can be able to explain to people what we do. You will be able to explain what we do and what we can, how we can help the family go through this transitional time in their lives. That's all I got, guys.
Well said, sir. Thank you, as always. We're going to run even over 45 minutes today, guys. We have two more in the queue. Phone number ending in 3908. You're up.
Hey, guys. This is Sam in Richmond, Virginia. I just wanted to make a quick comment about the lady who was asking about the LKZ column in her data. I have that same thing, and from what I found, it's actually the deceased last known zip code. As to what it is. So sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not, but it's just one of those things. Sometimes it's not even there. But it's one of those indicators that sometimes is a little more, there might still be real estate there because that is filled in.
Awesome. So that makes sense. That's a good acronym that works. LKZ is last known zip. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
All right. Awesome. Thank you much. Phone number ending in 1168. You're up.
Hey guys, it's me again, the guy from over in Philly. Just wanted to say two things real quick. Number one, the last guy just harped on it about the making the calls. Once you get out of your comfort zone and get your ass on that phone, it is huge because nobody's making those calls. There's probably 20, 30, 40 guys sending out postcards and letters in the Philly area, and I'd say, there's probably 3 of us making phone calls, and we're the ones getting the majority of the deals for sure. And it seems like people, kind of are stuck on, one little thing here and there. When you're talking about these leads, and you have one lead that's in a different county or different state or whatever, don't even worry about it. Just stick to your system and keep plugging away and plugging away and plugging away. The probates work. it will do. You'll do really well with this if you stick to it and work the system correctly.
Awesome.
The second thing I just wanted to say was that woman over in Jersey. When you start finding some deals, please give me a call because I do buy in Jersey also.
Okay, great. Good. Excellent. Thank you, Robert. I'm going to reach out to you again about Philly. We're going to figure something out. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right, last up for today, phone number ending in 1189. You're up.
Okay, this is Belinda in Laurel, Maryland. And
Hey,
these
Belinda.
questions, hey, how you doing? And I want to thank that the speaker before the last one, they actually talked about the calling and stuff like that, because I'm still working up my nerve to actually make calls. I appreciate his statements. But back to the questions, there are two quick ones that kind of come from last week's call, where you mentioned, I'd asked about wholesale deals, and you mentioned that what you do is just do a base fee, maybe $1,000 or so, just to sell a property that may be in bad shape, taken off their hands. Do you use a standard realtor contract to do that, or do you have a scaled down contract you use to do those types of deals? And then do you pass those to your broker, or are you a broker as well?
So what I do is I use a standard exclusive right to represent seller agreement. And
Okay.
if your state form or board form has, in the listing, if it doesn't allow for this, if it just says X percent, I would put an asterisk and the percentage where it says, blank percent.
Yeah.
I would write in asterisk, see additional remarks. And then in the additional remarks, I would put in broker and seller agree to a flat listing fee of X dollars in the event that they are the sale. Now, to avoid dual agency, what I do, my investors don't need representation. Most any investor,
mine don't either.
if you pitch it to them the way I presented it last week, hey, I'm going to bring you a deal, and I'm not going to charge a buyer commission, then they're not going to care. So when I write the offer, the first page of my offer in Virginia, it's called an unrepresented party addendum, I believe is what it's called.
Okay.
So it's a standard listing agreement with modified language. So maybe your listing agreement is set up for a flat fee, and then just the unrepresented party addendum and all your disclosures on the front page.
Okay, you give the unrepresented addendum to the investor, letting him know that you're representing the seller.
Yes, when I write the offer, before I take an offer to a seller, I make it very clear that he's unrepresented and that I will not do dual agency.
Okay. And apparently you're running that through your broker as well.
My broker's fine with it. It's the cleanest way you could possibly do it.
Okay. And then another one is, I don't know, it's kind of generic, and it's just a real estate question, period. When you go on these appointments, what types of safety tips do you recommend? Because, for me to go, I'd be, a woman by myself going on some of these appointments. I don't have someone who's going to be to go with me each time, you set up an appointment at these various times to see these people. What types of safety precautions do you use?
Well, in session 4 of Probate Mastery, which is coming up, we're going to teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for realtors. Totally kidding.
I've taken a little bit of that.
It just depends on what neighborhood you're working. 99%. And I'm in one of those towns where everything was built at the turn, between the during the Industrial Revolution. So we've got neighborhood blight, we've got gentrifying neighborhoods. And it's so some of the houses but typically what I find is you're meeting with people in the daytime. You're typically meeting with family members. It's not like you're going into rental houses where there's 15 people sitting on the couch, and 3 pit bulls in the kitchen. They're typically empty houses and nice neighborhoods, and you're meeting with family members. So I don't think that it's really anything to be concerned about. If you are working in the lower price neighborhoods and those kind of blighted neighborhoods, carry pepper spray, tell somebody where you'll be and when you'll be back. You can just do what you would do on any appointment. But I don't think I'd say there's less risk on a probate appointment than any other appointment, especially than a buyer appointment.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to cut it off. Our first 45-minute call went 57 minutes. So this is a new record, guys. Thank you so much for your participation. Great ideas, great points, great participation. I always like to end these calls by challenging you. You took 57 minutes to be here today. We appreciate it. Virtually everybody stayed on until the end. Take one idea, one thought, one thing that inspired you from this call, put it into practice, and come back and share it with the group next Thursday. Make it a great week, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you next Thursday.